بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فأولئك مع الذين أنعم الله عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. The verse that I recited is from chapter number 4, Surah Nisa, verse number 69, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing by saying, وَمَن يُطِعُ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, that whoever obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His apostle, فَأُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ, then those are the people, مَنْ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ, are going to be مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ, are going to be with those upon whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent His ni'mat and His blessings. So whoever obeys Allah and His apostle, these individuals will be in the company of those upon whom God has given His blessings. And who are those people? An-Nabiyyina, was-Siddiqina, was-Shuhada'a, was-Salihina. They will be prophets, so you'll be in the company of prophets. You will be in the company of Siddiqeen, the righteous. You will be in the company of the martyrs, Shuhada, and was-Salihin. Hasuna ulaika rafika. And how indeed it is a very good company, or how good or excellent company this is. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala man. And so this ayat emphasizes a great deal when we look at it. We recited the verse from Surah Nisa, verse number 69, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing by saying, whoever obeys Allah and His apostle, these people will be with those upon whom God has bestowed His favors. Who are those people? And He counts them: Nabiyyin, Siddiqeen, Shuhada, was-Salihin. وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. And how good indeed is this companionship. And how good indeed, excellent indeed it is, this companionship. And you would want to be amongst those who are, of this caliber. Here we look at, I was requested to address and talk about our second Imam, Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba alayhi salatu wasalam. Because that night when I spoke about our second Imam, I had only about 11 minutes. And many things were left unsaid. And it was requested that I go ahead and elaborate a little bit more in regards to our second Imam. Inshallah, tomorrow night you will listen in regards to our second Imam from another perspective, hopefully. And therefore, it will not be any repetition. But nonetheless, we see that the wiladat ba sa'adat of our second Imam is in the month of Ramadan. We mentioned that last time around, so I won't repeat those details of the sunnat and the traditions that were set in the wiladat of our second Imam. But more so, when we look at the life of our second Imam, that again, it was overshadowed by the personalities that he lived with. For example, the personality of our Prophet, the personality of Janab Sayyida, the personality of Amirul Mu'mineen. His life is definitely overshadowed by the lives of these personalities, who are above him, right? Who are definitely above him. But nonetheless, we see when the time comes, and even throughout the life of Prophet Janab Sayyida, Amirul Mu'mineen, there were numerous instances in which we see and find the acts of our second Imam. For example, amongst the things that is mentioned in regards to second Imam, which also lays the emphasis on this obligation of Hajj, that we find in a hadith that in al-Hasana, indeed Hasan alayhi salatu wassalam, Hajj 25 marra mashiyan. Imam went to Hajj 25 times on foot, by walking. Indeed, that shows us the importance of this ibadat of Hajj. That a lot of us, how many of us neglect this ibadat while our second Imam is making an emphasis, setting an example and emphasizing that even if you have to go on foot, even if you are able to walk, you should go ahead and perform this. So such a, enormous ibadat. And in fact, when a person came to our Prophet Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Hajj was wajib upon me, yet I was unable to do for whatever reason. Is there anything that I can do to compensate for the Hajj? Prophet pointed towards Kuha Abu Qubays, the mount of Abu Qubays, and he said, if this was to convert into the best type of gold, and you were to go ahead and give that as a sadaqah in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, still you would not have compensated for the Hajj that you missed. So that's how important this Hajj is. But second Imam also goes on and saying that whoever is from second Imam, our fourth Imam, our fifth Imam, as well as our sixth Imam, who are buried in Jannatul Baqi. He says, whoever amongst you goes for Hajj, فَلْيَخْتِمِ الْحَجْ, go ahead and finish your Hajj, بِزِيَارَتِنَا. Because this is the itmamul Hajj. So whoever goes for Hajj, make sure that you conclude your Hajj by performing our ziyarat, because our ziyarat is the mukammil of this Hajj, is the completion of this Hajj. So therefore we see the emphasis and the importance that is laid by visiting the graves of Ma'asumeen in Madinatul Munawwara. So it's not just, if you don't have time or whatever the say. Imam himself is emphasizing, saying that if you want your Hajj to be maqbool, sa'yukum mashkur, in the barakah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make sure that you go ahead and visit us. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So in one of these Hajj that Imam performed 25 times on foot, one of the Hajj, Imam was accompanied by his brother, Imam Hussein, and Hazrat Abdullah, husband of Hazrat Zainab Salamullah alayha. They were walking towards Makkatul Mukarramah to perform this Hajj. And on their way, they ran out of their supplies. And when they ran out of their supplies, the riwayat mentions that they did not even have enough to survive. And so they were looking around where they can find some food, where they can find some shelter. And in fact, they found a place nearby. They went towards it. There was an old lady living there. Imam says to that old lady that, we are in need. We were going towards Hajj. Is there any water that you have that you can provide to us? That lady says, I have this goat. You can drink the milk of this goat. Imam went ahead and drank the milk. And they also asked if you have any food for us, because we ran out of our food. They went ahead and they sacrificed it. She said, I only have this goat. Go ahead and sacrifice it and fill yourselves. Imam went ahead and sacrificed the goat. They prepared the food. They ate. They gave dua to this lady and said, whenever you come to Madinatul Munawwara, make sure that you come and see us, and we will compensate for the act of righteousness that you have performed today. Nonetheless, Imams, they went towards, Makkatul Mukarramah to perform the Hajj. The husband of this lady comes back, says, what happened? Where's the goat? She said, someone from Quraysh. They said they were Qurayshi. They came, they took this, they were hungry, they were thirsty. I provided this for them. So husband said, how could you do that? Now what we're going to do? We don't have anything else. But this is how their life, started to go downhill. They started struggling to the extent that they had nothing left for themselves. After many months, or sometime even mentioned in the riwayat, a year or so, they were wandering and they went towards Madinatul Munawwara so they can find, or they can beg some food, and they can beg their way into living. And this lady runs into our second Imam. And when Imam sees her, he recognizes her right away. He says, do you remember that you helped us when we were going by? She said, I don't even remember. When was this? And this is how the akhlaq should be. That when you have done good to someone, be as if you don't remember that you have done this good. Good deeds performed should be put into the vault that does not come back to your tongue again, lest you reproach and go ahead and cancel the reward for it. But nonetheless, Imam said, no, I'll remind you. It was 3 of us, we were walking by, we were thirsty and hungry, we saw your tent, we came and we used the goat that you had. and we were thankful, and I told you to, whenever you come here, come and see me. Imam ﷺ told his ghulam to go ahead and give her 1,000 goats, and also give her 1,000 dinar for what act of righteousness that she had done to us. And then he told her to go towards my brother Hussein. She goes and sees Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein bestows the same amount of goat and the same amount of money. Then he says, go towards Hazrat Abdullah. She said he also gave the same amount of goats and same amount of money. In fact, when they came, they had nothing in their possession. When they were leaving with 3,000 goats and 3,000 dirham or dinar, which they could have never have even imagined. This is how, when a person does an act of righteousness with sincerity, multifold returns back to you, as the ayat of Quran says, whoever gives in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will multiply it, and multifold will be returning towards you. And this was the manifesting. So we see that how act of righteousness. Imam himself is known for sakhi, and the sakhawat of Imam was something which became a trait which is only associated with him. Not that other Imams were not sakhi, but nonetheless, sakhawat was something which was, part and parcel of second Imam's life. And that's why we see that it is mentioned in riwayat that 3 times in his lifetime, Imam gave away everything that he possessed. Every single thing that he had in his possession. And then twice he gave away half of his wealth. When an onlooker saw this act by Imam, he said, what a loss. You gave everything away. You should have kept something for yourself. Or another person said, why do you keep giving away? 2 different types of replies that Imam gives. One Imam says, I don't know which one of my acts are accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so I keep giving. When I keep giving, I don't know which one is accepted. When Imam is uttering words that my acts, I do not know which one is accepted, that's why I keep on giving. Just imagine our acts, that how much we have given and how much we have performed, which one of these acts will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second, Imam gave another answer. He said, and it was a sort of philosophical answer to understand the concept of giving. He said, Allah gives me, so I give away. If Allah stopped giving me, then I will stop giving away. But the fact that if I stop and hold my hand today, I'm breaching this trust with my Lord that He might not bestow and shower His blessings upon me tomorrow. The fact that if I will withhold today or I will stop my hand today, I'm actually breaking the trust with my Lord that He will not shower His mercy upon me again. So in this way, Imam ﷺ explains the concept of giving, and he himself was known as sakhi, and sakhawat was associated as a trait of second Imam. Salawat Beji Muhammad wa alamu. That's why he said, as-sakhi la yadkhulun nar walau kana fasiqan, wal bakhil yadkhulul jannah walau kana abidan. Right? Imam ﷺ mentioned in regard, as-sakhi La yadkhulun nar, he will not enter the hellfire, even if that person was, fasiq. But then he said, al-bakhil, the one who holds back, the one who, is miserly, he said, will enter the hellfire, Jannah walau kana abidan, even if that person was abid. So here from this we understand the importance that Imam ﷺ is laying as far as giving is concerned. It is an act which is not associated only with human beings. In fact, when you look at the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, every single creation in their own capacity is bestowing for others. All these animals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, they are providing for themselves, their children, and they're providing for us as well. This earth, this ground that God has created, the soil, it is producing and it is providing for all of us. These birds or the honeybee or other animals that are providing for others, providing for human beings, right? So how worse can insan be, worse than animals or worse than khak, that if he is stingy or if he is miserly? If we are the followers of Hasan Mushtaba alayhi salatu wasalam, indeed it is incumbent upon us to adopt the trait of Sahaba. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And this wasn't the case. When it comes to giving, a lot of people will say, yeah, we help out to those who are friendly and to those who are, in the circle of friends. But when it comes to my enemy, I will never help out an enemy. But this is where you and I differ from Ma'sumin and their trait. That even when their enemy would come knocking on their door, they will go ahead and help out that enemy of theirs. And this such enemy we see is a person by the name Ash'as ibn Qais. Ash'as ibn Qais is, is actually mentioned in the riwayat, Subi Saleh or other books of, Sharaf Najul Balagha. For example, Sheikh Muhammad Abdu in his Najul Balagha mentions two names, Abdullah ibn Ubay and this particular person, Ash'as ibn Qais, as the munafiqeen, the top of munafiqeen. They would enter into the companionship of Rasulullah and companionship of Amir al-Mu'mineen, but they were munafiqeen, darja awwal, right? But nonetheless, this person, when second Imam was bestowing and giving out and helping the people, he was the first one in line and he was the first beneficiary of that. To show that person who had hands in the killing of the father of Imam Hassan. Because Hujr ibn Adi says that I saw Ash'as ibn Qais on the day when Amir al-Mu'mineen was struck by Ibn Muljam. He was speaking to Ibn Muljam and I overheard him speaking to him, go ahead and use this opportunity to finish Ali ibn Abi Talib. So he definitely had his hands with, the killing of Amir al-Mu'mineen. But he said, by the time I got to Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was already struck and I did not have the time to warn him. Second, you look at his son, Muhammad ibn Ash'as, who had his hand in killing Muslim ibn Aqil, the ambassador of Imam Hussein, and eventually he stood up against Imam Hussein in the battlefield of Karbala. And then lastly, Ju'da bint Ash'as. Look at the family who is responsible for poisoning our second Imam, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wasalam, on the orders of Amir Sham, because he said, I will give you this, I will give you that, and I will get you in marriage to my son Yazid if you go ahead and perform this thing for him. But even with all of these things in mind, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba is doing what? He's still doing khairat to Ash'as ibn Qais, showing us that even if a person is your enemy, this door is not closed for that. And from that we understand, even when it was not the case that Imam always has something. Someone might say, well, how do I follow the trait of Imam if I have nothing in my possession? Imam, when he didn't have anything, even then he did not turn down a beggar who came knocking on his door. A person came to Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, while Imam did not have anything in his possession. He could not give anything out, but he said, I'll give you an advice. I'll give you an advice where you can go ahead and get something out of it. The governor or the ruler of the time, and some riwayat say it was Muawiyah, his daughter had died. I don't know if this is the story or there was another ruler, but nonetheless said his daughter had died. He said, go to him and say these words to him, and he will have effect, and you might get something out of it. He said, what do you want me to say? He said, go to him and say that it is good that Allah took your daughter's life before you. And he said, Alhamdulillahi alladhi sataraha bijulusika ala qabriha wala hatakaha bijulusiha ala qabrik. He said, praise to Allah. Go to this ruler, go to this guy, and tell him these words. When you tell him these words, he will turn around and give you. So say what? He says, say to him this, praise be to Allah, sataraha, alladhi, the one who covered your daughter, bijulusika ala qabriha, with you sitting on top of her qabr, as opposed to she sitting on top of your qabr, had you had died before her. He said he heard that, because it's the time of Jahiliyyah. If a daughter is left alone without a father, what ends up happening? It is praise to Allah that she died in front of you. Now you are taking care of her. Instead, she is sitting on top of your grave. The Khalifa or the ruler of the time, he heard this. Right away he said, where did you get this from? He said, this was my own. He said, no, I understand where you come from. It could not have been you. Tell me the real source. He points towards Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salatu wasalam. So still the credit goes to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba when the ruler was giving after the praise that he had received. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There you go. That's another link between how these people were all connected. But we see that Imam alayhi salatu wasalam throughout his life, and even in the life of Amirul Mu'mineen, how he showed his bravery. A lot of time people, when we read that hadith from our Prophet in which he said, Hassan al Hussein, imama, qama or qaida, right? They two are imams, whether they're standing or whether they're sitting down. It was sort of a prophecy that he was saying that if one goes out and does sulh and makes peace, do not, consider them timid, or do not consider them to be, afraid or fearful, or the other one stands up and performs jihad, don't label bravery only to him. So he said, both of them are imams, whether they stand up or whether they sit down, whether one makes peace or the other one performs jihad. It is the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for one to go ahead and make peace. It is the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to go ahead and make war or to go towards jihad. And this is where we see that the jihad and the bravery of Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, not that we need any proofs to prove it, but we find one instance of it in the Battle of Jamal, when Amirul Mu'mineen gave an arrow to Muhammad ibn Hanafiya, and he said, go and strike the camel upon which Al-Mu'mineen is sitting, and obviously this was a blow to them. He goes, but then he runs into the guard who was standing there, Bani Habba, who stopped him from exceeding and going towards the ride in the camel of Al-Mu'mineen. He comes back. When he came back, Imam Hassan took this arrow from his hand. He went straight towards the camel. He struck the camel with it. When it was bleeding, it brought this arrow back to Amirul Mu'mineen. Right away, Muhammad Hanafiya, if something like this is performed, was feeling ashamed as to what has happened in front of him. Imam said, don't feel ashamed. Amirul Mu'mineen says to his own son, don't feel ashamed. Why? Because you are my son and this is son of Rasulullah. There's no comparison between you and him. One is son of Rasulullah and you are my son. And this is Hassan, this is, wajib ta'a. When I leave this world, he will be your Imam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. As I said, because the life was overshadowed, we don't find too many, too much history for this Imam. But nonetheless, these were the events on and off that were taking place, which were documented in the books of history. More so was from the year when Amirul Mu'mineen receives the Shahadat, the 10 years of the reign of our second Imam. That's when we find many of these things taking place, such as the sulh that he made, or going into. So people think that Imam went ahead and made this peace treaty. No, it was actually Imam was going towards fighting Muawiyah. He was marching towards, and in fact praised some of the people that were in the commands of Imam, such as Hujr ibn Hadith, for example, son of Hatim. These were the people that Imam said they themselves could handle the whole city of Kufa and the whole city of Basra themselves. But nonetheless, because there were internal affairs involved, Imam ﷺ, because the munafiqeen within the sufuf of our second Imam ends up making this peace treaty. But still, everything that Imam has said was for the benefit of the community, for the benefit, just to show the picture, real face of Amir Sham. So therefore, you find more historical events from the year 40 up till the year 50 from the life of our second Imam. But here, these are some of the traits that we find in him. For example, when Imam, his ibadat, what kind of abid was he? We have heard about a great deal of Zainul Abidin. We've heard a great deal about his father, Amirul Mu'mineen, and his ibadat. What kind of abid and worshipper was our second Imam? It says when he would stand up for perform the wudu, in al-Hasan ibn Ali, kana idha ارتعدت مفاصله واصفر لونه فقيل له في ذلك. Whenever Imam would stand up for performing of the wudu, his face complexion would change, his body parts would be shaking. You and I, when we're running out of time, we just run towards the wudu khana, we perform the wudu quickly and we come back, not realizing the process that we are going through. Imam is telling us, when he was asked, why is it like this? He says, حق على كل من وقف بين يدي رب العرش أن يصفر لونه وَتَرْتَعِدَ مَفَاصِلَهُ. It is deserving, if you would understand, that who are you going to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is incumbent that your face complexion should change. Your face, your hands should tremble when you're performing this wudu. Imam would put on the best of the libas when he would perform the ibadat qama ila salat. Labisa ajwada libasihi. And he was asked, why would you do that? He said, Inna Allah yuhibbul jamal. Inna Allah jameel yuhibbul jamal. Indeed, Allah is beautiful and He asks for beauty from others as well. فَأَتَجَمَّلُ لِرَبِّي. So I beautify and decorate myself for my Lord. That's why he said in ayat, we even recited that ayat today when we were doing the group recitation, خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ إِنْدَ كُلِّ مَسْجِدٍ. Salawat biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When Imam would arrive at the doorstep of masjid, what would happen? He said he would raise his head, رَفَعَ رَاسُهُ وَيَقُولُ إِلَهِ ضَيْفُكَ بِبَابِكَ. Oh Allah, your guest is at the doorstep. Ya Mohsin, qad ataka al-musi, fatajawaz an qabihi ma indi bi jamil ma indak. When Imam would enter into the masjid or the place of worship, this is what he would say. Oh my Lord, your guest is at the doorstep. Ya Mohsin, qad ataka al-musi. Oh Mohsin, indeed, a sinner has come to you. Fatajawaz an qabihi ma indi. Look over all the evil, all the ugliness that I possess with all the beauty that you possess. This is how Imam alayhi salatu wasalam would speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And lastly, I'll conclude with one pearl of wisdom from our Imam that he, obviously there were many riwayat that we have from our second Imam, but one, so that even the youngsters who are sitting over here, they can take away some sort of lesson from it. He said, "Ajabtu liman yatafakkaru fi ma'kulihi." I'm surprised at the person who's so concerned about what he eats. وَلَا يَتَفَكَّرُ فِي مَعْقُولِهِ. But he's oblivious of what he feeds his intellect or he feeds his heart. He says, يَتَجَنَّبُ فَيَجَنَّبُ بَطْنَهُ مَا يُؤْذِي. He refrains his belly from feeding which might be harmful to him. وَيُوَدِّعُ صَدْرَهُ مَا يُرْضِي. But he puts all the ugliness, all the evilness to his sadr, to his chest, to his heart, without any worry. What Imam ﷺ is telling us over here, that yes, we are so conscious when it comes to our health, what should we eat, what should we not eat, which is a good thing. But we're worried about this physical aspect of our body, but we're forgetting about the element, the other important element of our existence, which is the soul. He forgets about his soul, and he puts everything or anything in there. I quoted this example, that there was a father, he, told his sons were 13 and 14 years old, that they wanted to go watch a movie which was PG-13. He said, no, you can't watch this movie. He said, well, we're older, we're 14 and 15 years old. He said, no, still there's stuff in that movie which is not appropriate for your age. He said, Dad, it's PG-13, we're above 13. Dad obviously had the last say in it and he did not let them go. They were bummed out, they go into their room, sitting. The dad goes and he bakes some brownies for them, so they could smell that Dad is feeling a little bit, that he went harsh on us, so on and so forth. Cut the story short, I'm running out of my time. He brings the brownies to the room, and he knocks on the door. He said, look what I got for you. He said, yeah, we know what you got for us. He said, but before you eat this, there's a disclaimer. I went to the backyard and I picked up a little bit of something and I put into it. Very minute amount that you won't even taste it. He said, what is it? Well, don't need to know. He said, no, we want to know what we want to eat. He said, well, we have a dog in the backyard. There was some dog poop laying there, so I picked that up and I added into the brownies. But you won't even taste it. You won't even feel it. It's like, no way are we eating which has, dog poop in there. He said, well, you are so worried about what you eat, what you put into your belly, but you're not worried about what you put into your head by going and watching this movie, which has maybe a few things which are questionable, but this was the example that the father was setting for them. According to this hadith of our second Imam, who said, I'm surprised at the person, يَتَفَكَّرُ فِي مَأْكُولِهِ, he's so worried about what he eats, وَلَا يَتَفَكَّرُ فِي مَأْكُولِهِ. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam is called Sayyid. By whom? Sayyidul Mursaleen, Khatamul Nabiyyin, Sayyidul Awwaleen, wa Sayyidul Akhirin. Says what? Hada ibni Sayyid. This my son is Sayyid. This my son is Master. So here, if an ordinary person was to call Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba Sayyid, you would say, yeah, anyone can call anyone Sayyid. But a person who himself is Sayyidul Mursaleen, Sayyidul Awwaleen wa Akhirin, if he gives that title, then definitely that holds some sort of weight. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to be able to learn these beautiful beneficial lessons from the life of our second Imam, and to be able to apply them into our daily lives and implement the pearls of wisdom that we have received from our second Imam, so that we're able to live a life according to his wishes.